This is Nathan. I'm at the Chattanooga Choo Choo for the Steampunk Expo and Gothic 2016. I'm here to find out just a little bit more about what steampunk really is.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you come in.
What is steampunk to me?
Oh goodness, that is a great question.
My initial answer to that when I started with steampunk would be Gothic people who have figured out the color brown. Since then, it has kind of become Jules Verne on crack, steam-powered fantasy mechanical awesomeness.
Retro-futuristic, neo-Victorian, post-apocalyptic, and
it's Victorian age technology that has been adapted from steam-like mechanics.
present-day technology or even futuristic technology, but you retro-engineer it so that it's powered by steam and clockworks instead.
You know, you can make fascinating working objects from technology that was from the 1920s and back, still do great things with it.
Steampunk is the futuristic idea that we eventually go back to using steam to power technology because it's more eco-friendly, leading to mid-century technology that's actually really high-tech.
It's when the Victorian era meets like the Industrial Revolution.
Steampunk in general is mostly you have everything that you have in the world today, but the world never really developed an actual electricity. You know, everything is still driven off of steam and, you know, gear work and all that other kind of fun stuff.
I would say steampunk is like sort of an alternate version of history where, like, if you took when things were being steam powered and just kind of made it modern, a lot of building your own, putting things together that most people wouldn't think to put together, but you can make it all into one thing. So.
You know, the future sucks and it's terrible, and people said, yeah, but the past was great. So they took all the fun Victorian steampunk possibilities and decided to create them and say, this is what the past should have looked like.
Steampunk is a way of thinking, coordinating the concepts of the Victorian age with the modern.
It's also like a mentality. It's also just a way of life.
It's so vast a genre that it's really hard to just nail it down and be like, this is steampunk.
It's a lifestyle. It's an art movement. It's a thing that people are interested in and go crazy over.
Steampunk to me is everything because it's in my style, it's in my artwork, it's in my home, my everything. So steampunk is everything, absolutely.
I guess the best way to describe it is a world that I kind of wish would have happened.
I have two answers. One is a bunch of goths found the color brown. Number two is it's nostalgia for an age that didn't exist.
And also make it a little post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic.
What's most misunderstood about steampunk?
A lot of people that are familiar with steampunk but not immersed in it think that it's just, you know, brown leather and gluing gears on things.
A lot of people think it's just all gears, really.
Hot glue gears to it in a steampunk?
Like when people say just glue some gears on it, now it's steampunk, or gonna make it steampunk brown. It's like, no, it's so much wider than that.
People assume steampunk is basically just corsets and weird goggles.
You know, they see corsets and they think it's just a lot of girls that want to push their boobs up out in front of everyone.
What was the question?
People thought we were pirates last night.
Yeah, people thought we were pirates.
People don't know how to take steampunks. They see all these people and they're like, wow, you're kind of weird.
A whole lot of strangeness associated with it.
I think a lot of people look at it and get intimidated.
And I think that it's just they don't understand what they're seeing.
Why do I like steampunk? I like steampunk because I like to make stuff, and it gives me the license to do whatever the hell I want. I get to have fun, I get to be creative.
I like history a lot, and I've always been fascinated with the Victorian and Edwardian era. I just think stuff from that era is really cool. I love the look of it, and it's just fascinating to me.
It's beautiful, but it's also tough, and it's also rustic. It's beautifully badass.
It's the imagination.
To me, I like it because it's a rebirth of vintage.
Oh goodness, I think the people draw me in, because everyone who's in the steampunk culture, they're always really friendly and nice, and it just makes you feel very welcome.
Just the industrial architecture is just so intriguing to me.
I like steampunk because I do like all of the creative awesomeness that comes out of it.
What first drew me into it was actually the look. I very much like the old Victorian look, the fun, gritty kind of, in-your-face look. And then as I got into it, all the little nuances and the backstories and, just different things, the lore that's behind it is what kept me in it.
I always say that I liked it before I knew what it was. And once I found out there was a name for it, it just opened this window to all of these cool things.
Combining the different elements of industrial and woods or industrial parts and things that are still moving and gears and just kind of like how things used to be and celebrating it.
The mix of the past and handmade stuff and sci-fi.
I like the creativity in it. I like to make a lot of things. I've been doing costuming for like 5 or 6 years, so I just really like putting stuff together and combining different elements into costumes in ways that people haven't thought of before. So
it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of possibilities and the unlimited potential for how the world could be.
If you are just getting started in steampunk, what you should do is
fire up your steam-powered computer, get the generator running hand crank, type it in with the typewriter connected to the series of tubes, look up google.com.
Googling it.
Google is your best friend.
Just Google it.
Google is helpful.
Google it.
if you were to not know anything about steampunk, I would suggest
Treasure Planet, Jules Verne.
Wild Wild West.
Nikola Tesla.
Wild Wild West with Will Smith. Mechanical Spiders of Doom.
Bioshock.
The Treasure Planet Disney movie.
Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, Mike Resnick.
Find what interests you, because there's so many different genres inside of steampunk.
Fairy tales being rewritten in the steampunk style. You know, there are paintings, there's everything that you could possibly be interested in, and find your niche for it.
And if you just go to conventions and see different costumes, a lot of people get inspiration from other costumes that they've seen, and especially at the costume contest, you get some really amazing steampunk ones there.
See what other people have done and try to put your own spin on it.
If they like it, you can make steampunk with it.
Just start doing it. Start making it.
Hit up some thrift stores and modify things. Steampunk is a lot about making your own stuff. Do what you can, and there are a ton of people that will help you if you have questions. Most of the steampunk community is super helpful. They'll help you get started. They will help you learn techniques to make your own stuff.
These artists want to share and talk about what it is to them and how they make their own things. So it's a very open, beautiful community.
So ask around, find friends, find people that really jive with your feel.
There's meetup groups that are specific to the style.
Conventions like this where you can go and actually physically meet people who do this all the time.
So that's it for the Steampunk Expo and Gothicon 2016 at the Chattanooga Choo Choo. Got to find out a little bit more about steampunk, met some amazing vendors, and just all around had a great time. I'm the Gargyle, and as always, you can find me where geekery abounds.
It is definitely a celebration, a post-apocalyptic celebration of creativity. It is a celebration of creativity. I haven't slept much this weekend.